What's up, guys? Welcome to Shay's World. I am your girl, Shay, and we are back talking Traitors. I know I promised that we would do episodes 2 and 3 individually, but as you can see, I am sitting in my car, which means I am on a little break. Um, Life is lifing, work is working, training is training, and it's tax time. So I am really at capacity, but I am so committed to this that I took my little break and we're out here and we are doing it. Of course, I can't do this alone. I have my lovely co host. I don't know
Your
what side
boy,
he's on. So,
your boy Malik is right here somewhere in the space. I'm on the opposite side, but I don't know where I'm at on your screen. So
so I have a few notes. I had to write some notes down really quickly while I was in class so that I can kind of just really touch on the
while
main
I was in
things
class.
that happened in episodes 2 and 3, and that way when the new episode drops tonight, we'll be fresh. And I actually feel like episode 4, the game is going to really begin because we have all of these new factors and things in the game. So we open up episode 2 with the official Alan telling Rob that he's a traitor and that he's not alone. He finds out that Derek and Wes are also a part of the deal. And of course they get to reveal themselves to each other, and they decide to just, stick together. It'd be best for their games to stick together. Better said than done, but whatever. So we go back to the house and we get the official Traitors banishing of Dorinda. It's breakfast time. Everybody's coming in. The last three to come in, well, the last three, once everybody, it winds down and they're trying to figure out who was murdered, it was Robin, Dolores, and Dorinda. And so Robin and Dolores come in and they realize it's Dorinda. Now, before we talk about anything else, before we go any further, and we get on Brittany and Bob and this crying, horrible acting, let's talk about Wells and the
Hmm.
sweating under his armpits that he was doing. Like, bro, it's cold. It was cold in Scotland. How are you sweating this much this early in the morning?
Because Wells dresses nicely, and so he's wearing a dress up shirt, and those are very thin shirts. And when you have your arms to your side like this for a long period of time, no matter how cold it is, this area is going to get swampy. So I actually understand. I didn't even notice this. I did not know that he had sweaty pits,
They were
but
big. How did you not see them? They
I
were
didn't
everywhere.
notice this. Oh, that's terrible. I mean, he just has to get some circulation under there. That's all. I understand the pain because I've been in that, not that bad, but I've been in that predicament before where I'm like, oh my God, stains.
Yeah, I
Like
do
you,
not like
like
sweat
if you kept your
stains.
arms the way that they are right now, you would get stains.
Oh, absolutely. I'm definitely one of those sweat under the arms people. So I typically, even though it's winter, I don't do long sleeve shirts. I don't typically do long sleeve shirts. I don't do sweaters. Summertime, I'm only doing tank tops. Something I do not like to cover my arms because I don't like sweat stains. However, anytime I'm watching something or I'm watching people, I am naturally looking for sweat stains. So Wells and his sweat stains on national TV no longer make me feel bad about mine because his
I'm
were
screaming.
massive.
Yes,
Anywho,
do not wear a thin shirt on national television without keeping your arms up, okay?
telling you. Um, okay, so we have Bob who's at the table crying. We have Danielle who's crying. We have Carolyn who's still looking confused and lost. However, I've watched Carolyn's podcast about this, and I honestly, her facial expressions look like she's still confused. Her thoughts in her mind are, "What the fuck are y'all doing? What are y'all doing?" Everybody's at the table is hollering about how they thought Dorinda was a traitor and this and that. And Carolyn in her mind is thinking, I told you. Like, why wouldn't we keep her as a shield? So everything's going on. First, they go separate in different rooms. And so Robin and Wells end up having a conversation. Robin is actually spot on. However, this early in the game, you got to be careful. So she's saying that was a great tactic by the traitors to murder a housewife to pin it on one of us. Wells is saying that wasn't a good strategy. I I can see both of their arguments, but they kind of let the argument go a little bit. Bob's
I
name is
mean,
still. Hmm?
I think it's a good strategy.
Mhm.
I don't see why it wouldn't be a good one.
Well, it's a good strategy because what happened last season. There were so many Bravos and housewives, and then you had Phaedra in the turret as a traitor, and she basically kept all of her housewives counted down towards the end or closer to the end, or she kept people around her that, like she said, these are the people that I wanted to make it to the end, or
Hmm.
she kept people around her that she knew just would never vote for her, regardless of whether they thought she was a traitor or not. So now it's time for their challenge. Again, y'all, I'm sorry, we're kind of running through this a little bit, so I may be missing some ins and odds conversations, but the conversations will come back up. I'm sure by episode 4 we will delve more into. If we have to double back, we will. So they go to the challenge and they see these 3 cages hanging. Alan reveals, and they, of course, they see Boston Rob is now back. Now we get Wes, we get Derek. Actually, Derek was revealed first. And immediately when Derek is revealed, Danielle throws him under the bus. He's a cop, meaning he'll be able to sniff this stuff out, guys. And she said it twice. He's a cop. Then we reveal Wes, and then we reveal Rob. Jeremy acts like he's happy to see Rob come back in the game. Yada yada yada. Alan tells them there's money, gold coins out here in the little forest or whatever. You have to find them, place them in these little slots. It'll lower them. Once they're lowered, they all have shields, and they can give the shields to whoever they want to. Naturally, everybody's kissing Rob's ass, because if I'm in this position, I'm thinking, shit, I didn't want him to come in the house this time, but let me make him think I want him to come in the house, so at least if he come in, he'll work with me, or not be gunning for me.
Hmm.
So Rob is first, then Derek, then Wes. Funniest part of this entire scene and all of this was Ion, when she walked up to Wes and was like, do you have a TikTok? What's your name? What show are you from? Do you have a TikTok? As if you need this
Even
resume.
putting everybody through an interview. Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, it worked. I mean, he did say, "Hey, I can help you win. Like, I could keep you going." And she was like, "Okay." I would have given my coin to Wes.
I mean, I'd have evened it out. I'd have tried to at least put 2 or 3 in each person's.
But after I see that nobody's putting a coin in Wes, I would have been like, Wes, let's be
Oh,
real. You owe me.
okay.
I'm going to start filling your coin up. You
Hmm.
owe me. We're going to work
Yeah.
together.
Okay. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good strategy. That is a good strategy. It's a very good strategy. So back at the house, it's Jeremy, Robin, and somebody else in the little area where they be eating, not the main breakfast area, but one of those other little
Like the
nooks.
bar.
Yeah. And Jeremy is like, I think it's one of the Bobs. Like, it's one of the Bobs. And Robin is like, it's not Bob the drag queen. It's not Bob the drag queen. And I'm like, yes, the fuck it is Bob the drag queen.
I can't
Now,
see Bob the drag queen, which is crazy how they can't see Bob because I could before the show was on.
a blind person can see Bob as, especially considering what happened at the reunion from season 2 with Peppermint, and Peppermint's whole entire spiel about representation and what it would have meant for somebody like her being on the cast. Is no way they were going to mess that up. But also, I feel like if people watch, they don't want the same backlash that they got from Peppermint, so we might say Bob till about 5 or 6.
Hmm.
Some people play the strategy of the traitors that they can actually identify and they know are traitors, they'll keep them to the end, and let's identify these other ones, because of course we all know at the end of the game, when it's time to end the game, you can choose not to and banish again, just not
Right.
at the round table. So that could be some people's strategy, like, okay, I clock Bob, but I can keep Bob, in or whatever, as long as Bob doesn't get banished. All right, so
Hmm.
cool. Round table was, I remember quite a bit of it, but I don't remember a lot of it. I specifically just remember them pointing at Robin and Robin being able to defend herself. and then it shifts back to Wells. Now, this first round table, I didn't say this. Boston Rob, Derek, and Wes are all immune from banishment, as well as they can't be murdered. So it's like they're in the house, but they don't have a vote on this day. So it's like they're here, production's production, and again,
They're just
because it's the
watching.
easy thing to just go ahead and shoot them out. Y'all can't do
Hmm.
that tonight. At least give them a full day in the house, kind of catch up on the people or whatever, yada, yada, yada. Cool. Anywho, so ultimately, Robin and Wells go back and forth. The votes go for Wells. Robin had 4 votes. Bob had 4 votes and Wells had 4 votes. The deciding factor was Carolyn. Carolyn voted for Wells. So now Wells is gone. They go back into the house, and now it's time for the players to give out their shields. I'll just go ahead and spill it out real quick. Rob gives his to Tony. I thought that was a smart move. I actually thought it was more of an olive branch from Rob to Tony because they both know how each other play, and Tony may automatically be able to catch that Rob's a traitor. So I thought that was smart for Rob to do. Wes gives his to Jeremy. I thought that was smart. Like he said, Survivor has a big alliance. Let me jump in there. And then Derek, although Danielle was begging for Derek's, he gave his to Dylan, Zac Efron's brother. And he told Danielle that he gave it to her. And he was like, listen, we're only 2 big brother. We're going to need some type of outside help. And so he gave it to Dylan. That would have been a red flag for me if I was Derek. If this woman has been begging me for a shield, and then when I tell her that I gave it to somebody else, she's just like, "Oh, okay."
Mm.
Yeah, that would have been a red flag for me. So they go back in the turret, and they're in there, and it's kind of a little chaotic. Knock on the door. Boom, it's Rob. Carolyn's pissed. Bob hadn't already insulted Rob earlier today and told him that his hat on backwards was a fashion fail or a fashion no or something. He
He
said,
said that in that first episode.
yeah. Well, no, he told Rob on this episode. He put money in Rob's slot and said that hat,
That hat
somebody's
is a
hat.
mistake.
That hat is a mistake. And they're having their little tips or whatever. Of course, they discuss who has the shields, and they're kind of all over the place. And Rob kind of has to pull them back together. In that sense, I was like, I like Rob being in here because these people can kind of go off the rails. It's 3 dominant personalities, now 4. But one thing about Rob, he knows how to adapt. So he'll take a back seat and let them do some things just to make sure he gets to the end. So I like that he kind of wrangled them in and was like, do we want to cause more chaos? Or it was another term he said. Ultimately, they end up murdering Ion. I'm upset that they murdered Ion, but it was probably good for her because she was the closest to Wells. She had the biggest reaction to Wells being eliminated because he was her only friend in that house, really. You know,
Mm.
he was close to
Oh,
her.
true say.
Yeah, so
So what I remember is that they didn't. What I remember is that the ladies didn't want to get rid of her, but Bob was adamant on getting another housewife out there.
mhm.
And I don't really know why he wanted to get another housewife out there. I feel like it wasn't. I feel like sure, get her out there, but I don't really know if it was necessary. Like if you absolutely had to get Ian out there, because who were the other two that they were thinking about?
I don't remember who the other 2 were. However, I think getting out a housewife still saves Rob in a sense because if you'd have switched trains and got a gamer or something, they'd immediately been like, oh yeah, it's Rob in there trying to get all the gamers out and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So it works in some people's favors, some people's favors it doesn't. But that is that. Episode 3, of course, we open up breakfast time at the breakfast table. Now we have 4 traders at the table instead of 3. And everybody comes in or whatever. And now before quite a few people come in, Rob is in there. Danielle is in there. Danielle throws Bob the drag queen under the bus. Although she's in there saying, like, I know he's not a traitor, blah, 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 you still are kind of throwing him under the bus a little bit. Like, why are you putting his name at the forefront of people's
I
minds.
hate when
Rob
people
is
do
like,
that. I hate when people are like, when like somebody gets found out and they're like, oh, and this person too, or like, but I know for a fact this person didn't do that, or it's like, you know, you don't have to do that because I wasn't thinking about Bob the drag queen before you said you didn't feel like he was a traitor, and now you got me thinking about him, and now I'm thinking about him and you. It's like, lady, for real,
so breakfast was a little, of course, everybody's trying to
irritating,
figure. Hmm,
irritating.
yeah. Of course, people are trying to figure out why IN or whatever. Danielle is still trying to drive home her point about it being a housewife, whatever. First challenge comes up, and we have Bob going at Tony. They go to this little fun castle thing, fun house or whatever. Of course, they change up the game a little bit every season, but it's still kind of the same in a way. So this one was, you're going to be in groups of two. It's mystery doors. You go through the door. You have to choose the door. If you choose the wrong door, the clown will pop your balloon. However, because the rest of the cast can't see, you're supposed to be yelling out what you're doing, what door you go in, so that people can know what door to go in. The goal is to get to the fourth door,
Mm.
choose correctly, and have your balloon not pop. You gain the $2,000. I'm gonna just fly past this one. They made no money. The biggest thing that came out of the game was Bob going at Tony, trying to make Tony go first. All gamers know you don't go first. You go somewhere in the middle or the end, because chances are the people in the beginning are not going to get a shield. They're not going to get far. So Wes does end up going last. They still don't
Mm.
bring home any money. So now we're back at the house, and
And wasn't they at the last door or something, mind you?
yeah, they were. He had
They had one shot.
Wes made it all the way through. hmm Um, at the house, things are moving fast. There's a lot of names coming out. However, I would like to point out all of the traitors' names were floating. Literally.
Mm.
If you notice, you have Jeremy, who pulls Carolyn to the side and says, "Don't trust Danielle." Actually, that happened before they left. That was after breakfast. Because Carolyn called a group of people calling her kooky. Jeremy is on Danielle. You get back to the house, you have um people throwing Tony's name out there. Tony goes and talks to Boston Rob and says, Bob the drag queen. Somebody else says Bob the drag queen because he tries to go and confront them. Um, it was just a lot of moving pieces, and it's like, I need y'all traders to get a little.
I think it was Tom. I think it was either Tom. Oh, no, 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 no! It was Efron. Efron, because
Dylan,
Efron
yeah,
was getting
Dylan
bold
is on
against
Bob.
Bob.
Dylan is on Bob. Bob is on Bob. Dylan is on Bob the drag queen. Bob, the other Bob that's in the house, is on
Hmm.
to Bob the drag queen. Like, it's so many different people, kind of like out for other different people. It's I went into that banishment ceremony like, what is really about to happen?
Girl, because mind you, weren't the traders talking before we went into the banishment ceremony too? Weren't they literally like,
After
y'all, we need to? That was afterwards.
that.
Mm.
So we get to this banishment ceremony, and people are talking. Of course, Robin names comes around up again. Um, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like Tony directly
Covered.
talked to Bob, trying to figure out like what was that energy, what was going on, like why did you push so hard for me to go first, blah 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 blah. We have that, and then we have somebody brings up Bob the drag queen's name, and
I
it's
thought. I think you're right. I think you're right. It's been a while since I seen it.
okay. So if I'm not mistaken, it was at the point where Bob's name was out there, and I'm assuming
Hmm.
because Boston Rob picked up on people's body language, and just when you've been doing, and I hadn't done any competition shows, guys, but as you can tell, I'm an avid competition gamer, reality show game watcher, but I also enjoy going back and
Enthusiast aficionado.
yeah, I like to go back and watch their interviews so that I can learn a little bit more strategy so that when I'm watching, I can make predictions and stuff and just see if I can keep up. It's just this own little game mental thing I do with my own, myself. So I think Rob has been in this so long that everybody that I've watched or said is like you can kind of see or feel the writings on the wall sometimes in those situations of who people are going to vote for. So Rob knew that he had to throw a Hail Mary and save his boy Bob the drag queen, which was his fellow traitor, and he flips it on Tony, and he just points out, I don't know if you're a traitor or not, but I can't trust you because I gave you my shield and you decided not to talk game with me after this happened. I have not talked game with
Mm.
you anymore since I gave you my shield. And he was like, so whether you're a traitor or not, I can't trust you. Well, the problem with that is everybody knows Boston Rob. So if Boston Rob is calling you out, more than likely you're a traitor. Or I'm going to believe Boston Rob. Most people vote for Tony. Tony is banished. He reveals he's a faithful. But the best line of the night was he turns to Rob and says, "You're a sellout, bro."
And you're a sellout.
And I was like, no, don't mess up Rob's game.
You're a sellout.
I can't be mad
Rob messed
because
out
he
his own
probably felt
game.
like Rob ruined his game.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Rob messed up his own game. He sacrificed himself in order to save Bob. That is a fact. I respect it, but in all honesty, I don't think it was necessary because let's be real, Bob was handling himself extremely well. He against Efron, because he couldn't provide enough evidence against Bob. So when Bob confronted him, and there was like, "Where's your evidence?" You don't got it. So, I mean, I don't think that Rob really needed to do that because Bob was very good at protecting themselves against Efron.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Because
I don't
when
even
he
think
told
Efron was
Efron,
convincing anybody.
"You're delusional." Matter of fact, that needs to be your drag name, Mr. Delusional, Miss Delusional,
Misguided. Everybody, welcome to the stage.
Misguided. Oh,
Misguided.
Misguided. Welcome to the stage, Misguided. I said, ooh, ooh,
Are you
spicy.
kidding me? He ate him.
Ate him down.
But that's why I felt like that Rob didn't need to do that. After seeing all that, do you really think that you have to sit here and sacrifice your game to save a fellow traitor who just sat here and ate that faithful up for dinner? About to kill him in the next 2-3 weeks. So, but it was great entertainment, great television. I hate to
It
see
was.
him
It
go.
was
Hate
good
to see
TV.
Tony go.
It's good TV. I'm curious to know if Rob felt like, well, shit, since Tony's name is already out there, let me go ahead and just cut Tony and get this over with before he can cut me. I'll be very curious to see what that story, what was truly behind that outside of feeling like you needed to protect Bob the drag queen. All right, so boom. Roundtable is over.
So boom.
Roundtable is over. Production, of course, everybody is aware that after Roundtable, people do interviews. So I don't think it was, any type of obvious of all of them going to do an interview, but they got a letter saying that they basically have to do a murder in plain sight, which we saw this on the third episode of season 2 and on the third episode of season 1, if I'm not mistaken, the murder in plain sight. So ultimately, same like usual, they got to find something in the little book thing and then do something. But this time it's more of you find something, you write down 3 names, they'll be put in a coffin, and then the traitors will seal the coffin of one of the people. Here's the problem with it. And I understand that it's probably just production giving me a heart attack, which I hope it was production. They all end up in this secret fucking room. Not really a secret room, but in this fucking room that's connected to where the bar is. They're in there talking, can't lower their freaking voices, and freaking all her name starts with the C.
Carolyn.
No, Carolyn is a traitor. It's one of the faithfuls. She walked in the
Chriselle.
freaking room. Chriselle, yes, Chriselle is walking in the room. She's like, I know I'm not crazy. I hear something.
Did I miss this?
You must have, because the end of the episode goes off with Danielle and Carolyn coming out of that room and Chriselle walking back in as if
Ah.
she caught them. And then the episode goes off. So we got to
Okay, I
wait for
definitely
season
missed
two
that.
tonight to see if they got caught. If they did, how did they play it off? Did they know to, like hold the boys in there so the boys can't, like, I'd have been holding that damn door so the boys could not come out behind me if me and Carolyn were caught. The boys weren't coming out of there. Like, I'd have been
Okay,
some kind of way
no
holding that
shade.
damn door. The boys, I wasn't letting the boys come out of there. Like, all four of us not gonna get caught because now we are definitely exposed. So 2 and 3 episodes.
But like the traders, so the traders are really comfortable this season, very early out of the gate with meeting with each other in public areas because this wasn't the first time. They didn't get caught earlier in the episode, but earlier when Bob had found out that Efron was throwing his name around, the three of them was talking, and I was just like, this is not a good space, for the three of y'all to be meeting right now because anybody could walk in and we see what happens. Chriselle just nearly
Well, see,
walked
I
in on
think it's
y'all.
a little
So,
different when you're in an open room, in an open setting, and you're talking because, again, the show tells you break off in groups. Don't all just bunch in one room, go in multiple rooms, have multiple
hmm
conversations with multiple people. That wouldn't have been an issue. The issue would have been, why are y'all in this secret room? You see what I'm saying? Secret. Like, y'all
behind
go
the
in the secret
case,
room and then go
yeah,
in another
yeah,
room and close the door.
yeah. It's too
So
much.
that's that. Um, 2 and 3 were really good.
Very good.
I hate that we had to condense them down into two, but it really works. I don't feel like we left off any important information for you guys. That really is the quickest type of recap that we can give versus a review this time. Um, the show was really, really good. We will make sure to give you guys justice for episode 4 because I think it's going to be just a hell of a lot of shit to talk about. I want to talk about how Rob is going to get out of this with Tony calling him a sellout, although he kind of played it off a little
You're a
bit.
sellout.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about if they get covered or not, and what decisions they end up making on choosing who's going to go in the coffin. Because of course, a traitor can go in there, and initially Danielle and Bob the drag queen wants to put what's her name, Carolyn, in there, and Carolyn's like, no. So we're gonna see how this turns out. What's your final thoughts, really, 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 really quickly? What are your final thoughts on episodes 2 and 3?
Good and good.
Oh, I was hoping it'd be a little bit more than that. But okay, I'll take good and good. I'll
Well,
take good
I
and
can
good.
get longer. I'm trying not to.
I appreciate
I'm
that.
trying not to
I
do my
really
thing.
I appreciate that. Well, yeah, that's gonna be our recap of Traitors season 2, episodes 3. I mean, Traitors season 3, episodes 2 and 3. Make sure if you guys like our recaps, want us to continue doing this, make sure you hit that like button. That just lets us know you're enjoying the content, you like it. If you have not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Do us a favor, join the fam. We're here. We're gonna always be here. As you can see, even if we can't get in our actual studios, I will come and sit in my car to make sure I get this content out for you guys. So that's why you can say thank you and that you appreciate it. It's by hitting that like button and that subscribe button. And as always, I am your girl Shay.
I am your boy Malik.
Yeah. That's it, guys. We're gonna wrap this up. We'll see y'all next time. Peace out.